Yeah,
Thank you.
Yes.
see me or presentation.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you. So, hello, dear colleagues. I'd like to present you a study on the evaluation of the degree of investment attractiveness of IT projects. And we've done this study with my co-authors, Maxim Ludsky, Sergei Gnatiuk, Victoria Sidorenko, and Stanislav Yarovitsky. And so, let's start. First, let's describe the relative of our study. And as we all know that Ukraine successfully showed the resistance to Russian invaders, and it is now clear that the future, Ukrainian future, is in Europe and in European Union and the other Western alliances. So it is now clear that after our victory, it will be really interesting for Western investors to invest money in Ukrainian, to rebuild Ukraine, and actually not only help to rebuild Ukraine, but also to make money on the attractive industries, because now we like in difficult time, and after the victory, everything will be will raise, right? And beside that, we also have our internal national informatization program, which will support in finding IT projects and enhancing the investment landscape, right? And so why we conduct our study? Because investors should somehow choose which project to support, where to fund their money. And yeah, of course, it is much better to have some mathematical or some mathematical background on selecting the better projects to invest their funds. Yeah, and that is why we described the very important part in the selection of human factor in decision making and investment attractiveness process, right? And on the here you can see the different parts of decision-making process, right? In our study, we in that study we decided to focus on the block 4 preference system, which represent experts' preference regarding the indicators of characteristic of object of expertise. So actually, you will see on the next slide this chains of indicators based of what the investors can choose what project will be better for them, right? Also, what I need to mention that individual and group preference system should be mentioned. It's essential to recognize that both individual preference system and group preference systems they have well-established theoretical foundations, and during preparing our study, we conducted an analysis of such systems and the formation of this individual and group preference system. And in our study, we selected, I will show on the next slide which of them. And yeah, let's move on. To start our research, we proposed 18 indicators to assess the IT projects. You can see them on the slide. Actually, yeah, it was discussed with our experts. We invited 90 of them to assess each of the indicator to range them based on their opinion and form the individual preference system. And having done that, you can see the 4 chains of such formation, and a lot of experts showed a preliminarily similar result. And you can see that we have 4 chains, right? And 30 expert showed the similar chains of indicators. This one showed 12 experts, 11 and 6 experts. So, and as you can see on the first 3 of them, most experts think that we will, if we come back to the table, so they think that guarantees of return of funds to the investor and investment plan, it's important to them. And as it's as we show in our study, that it will be much better to mathematically validate the result, that the IT project should be assessed exactly on such indicators, or some of them are more important or not. So, and that is why we should use the some methods to validate those results. And that is why our model for evaluating IT project of investment attractiveness was developed, right? And our model consists of 3 stages. Actually, the model have only 3 stages to make it more easier to understand, right? But the stages and the math, it is better to check in the text, and not to overwhelm your attention. On the first stage, we need to select our decision-making processes, and based on the analysis which we conducted in our study, we determined that it is better for us to use and compare 4 of them: Weld, Savage, Bayes, Laplace, and Hurwitz. And as I previously showed you 4 chains of the experts results, individual preference system, we will compare those individual preference system chains with the with those who analyzed by these classical decision-making criteria. And it will be done on the first stage. Let's briefly move through our decision-making criteria. And the Wald criterion is well accepted, well accepted criterion of extreme pessimism, guaranteeing conservative result in our group preference system, right? So the Savage criterion will be more democratic criterion that consider both majority and minority opinions in these group preference systems. And in iterative ranking, it will be similar. So the most significant indicator is determined, and the procedure should be repeated for all of our 18 indicators. The Bayes Laplace criterion will be an average of ranking across the decision-making matrix rows, taking into account expert opinion. And the iterative ranking, the indicator will be ordered based on their average ranks from the from experts' individual preference system. And Hurwitz criterion will be a more balanced approach to decision-making process. In iterative ranking will be done on the alpha value, and we used alpha as 0.5. Right. On the stage 2, we will evaluate the effectiveness of our decision-making process for IT projects by analyzing our group preference system with the individual preference system. And here on the left, you can see our chain, which was selected by 30 experts with 30 similar opinion of experts. And on the right, you can see that we use the Wald criterion to reveal the indicators in decision-making criteria. And as you can see, the result slightly different in the beginning and in the end. So if we on the next slide, we will compare the actual result with other criteria, but what we can see on that part of the study that if we don't use our decision metrics and criteria, so the result will be different, and we will need to select the chain which is more mathematically validated. Right, then we move on to savage criteria. This result, savage and wild criteria, looks almost the same, and that is why savage criteria is just better in our study. It is just a bit better and more democratic. Yes, similar, very similar to wild criteria, and let's briefly compare with other. We also used Hurwitz decision-making process, and the result also a little bit changed, because the Hurwitz criterion more balanced approach to decision-making process, and it is more appropriate under the conditions when you have when nothing is known about the probabilities of occurrence of external states and the possibility of occurrence of these external states should be taken into account, or small number of decisions are implemented, and when you can some risk is assumed, when the risk is not zero, right? And so each criterion is suitable under some specific conditions, right? So wild criterion suitable for one-time decision with no room for risk. Savage criterion more considered as democratic and suitable for some situations where you can add some risk-based Laplace suitable for scenarios with known and stable probabilities, and Hurwitz a more balanced approach for situation with some uncertainty and risk. Yeah, and the final stage of our model is to combine and to see which criterion is shows more efficient way in our decision matrix. And as you can see on that slide, that really the result pretty I would say not similar, but results are close. Which why is that? Because we already identified just 4 methods and used them, and so if we would use like 10 of them, maybe the result will be more not that close. And the most effective for our selection is savage criterion, which is really close to world criterion, but as it's more democratic, so it appeared that the small difference in this absolute value of R shows that indicators was selected appropriately, because yeah, we showed the final result with already good properly selected indicators. So that is why our result are so close, and our group preference system already was agreed upon this, and before that, and we had alpha on a small level. Right, so in conclusion, I can say that we studied 4 classical decision-making criteria: wild, savage, Bayes, Laplace, and Hurwitz, and we developed a model for assessing the degree of investment attractiveness for IT project. We compared these 4 classical decision-making criteria and selected the savage criterion, demonstrated the exceptional efficiency by minimizing deviations and optimizing agreement with other group preference system. And we also already identified some open avenues for future research, and we already thinking about justifying trade-offs, determining normalized coffee indicators, establishing a reference group preference system, and maybe a little bit extending our method. That's it from my end. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Have a question, participant in our conference. Thank you very much. Thank you.